Today I'm gonna make another recipe for muffins. This time I played a little bit with the flours. So this one is gonna be a gluten-free, pretty much sugar-free muffin. They came out really good. They're a little bit more dense than the ones that I made before, but try it out and see for yourself. In the recipe, I used 3 different flours. Oat flour, I used it oats, just old-fashioned oats, grinded them. Then I added some garbanzo flour and buckwheat flour. I mean, I think you can play with different kind of flours. Probably you can use almond flour and any other flour that you like. I think they pretty much gonna come out right. So in this recipe, I have a couple of eggs, very, very ripe bananas, and I used yogurt instead of butter. So it's a pretty light, I think it's about 100 calories per muffin. Now, in this recipe, bananas have to be extremely ripe. I mean, the ones that you actually don't want to eat, with a little bit brown spots here and there. They are definitely the sweetest ones. I grounded 80 grams of old-fashioned oats. I have here 40 grams of dried cranberries. They also will add sweetness to the muffins as well as bananas. That way you don't have to use sugar. And this is 60 grams of buckwheat flour. I like the texture of it because it's very similar to regular flour, although the flavor is different. And here I have some garbanzo flour as well, 60 grams, half a cup about, and 115 grams of non-fat Greek yogurt. I'm gonna start mixing the wet ingredients first. So I always start with bananas. You can mash them with fork or you can use a blender. Sometimes if I don't feel like, putting too much work into it, I just use a blender and mix eggs, bananas, and the yogurt, everything together in a blender. Because I always like to know exactly how much each serving of my food is, I use this scale here and I measure all the ingredients. Of course, you don't have to do it if the recipe says 2 or 3 bananas and you don't mind having a few calories here extra, it's fine. I like to be very precise. So here I probably have 12 ounces, 11 ounces of bananas. Next, let's add a couple of eggs. About 115 grams of non-fat Greek yogurt. After all the wet ingredients are combined, you can start adding the flours. You can also do it on separately, mix the dry ingredients, then mix the wet ingredients and put it all together. Next, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder. All the ingredients I'm gonna put in the description, so you can go there and check it out. Mix it until just combined. Set aside and prepare the dried cranberries. I like to chop them finely. That way there is little chunks everywhere instead of having one big bite of cranberries, because I use them as a sweetener in a sort of way in this recipe. It's better if you have little pieces all over the dough instead of one big chunk here and there. I like to use an ice cream scoop to make sure that all the muffins are the same size. And I got 12 muffins out of this recipe. So in the meantime, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And once they're ready, they go all in for about 25 minutes. Obviously, depending on your oven, you have to test that one. And let's take a little peek while they're baking. You can see they are slightly rising and they just start smelling right now. And here we go. After 25 minutes, I have delicious muffins. Oh, they look so good. Cannot wait to have one. I usually eat them right away when they're extremely hot, but definitely if you let them cool, they will keep the form much better. So let's check it out and see how they look like inside. Just about right. So as you can see, they a little bit denser than the ones I made before. And that's pretty much the difference between using whole oats versus grounded oats, like an oat flour. They will become a little bit denser. And as you know, I did not use any sugar whatsoever, so they're not gonna be very, very sweet. So I suggest that you try this recipe once and adjust the sweetness as needed. And I hope you enjoy these muffins as much as I do. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.